Hallo und herzlich willkommen zurück zu der nächsten Folge von Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc. Ja, im letzten Part haben wir unser Class-Trial angefangen und wir haben herausgefunden, dass es jetzt das Hiro es höchstwahrscheinlich nicht war. Und wir haben einiges herausgefunden. Ich will euch das alles nicht erklären, das schaut den letzten Part an, wenn ihr es nicht gesehen habt, was ihr höchstwahrscheinlich schon gesehen habt. Aber hey. Warte, mit der Third Murder Case. Ah, okay. Das ist das, was so im Kreis da immer dumm, die Buchstaben. Na gut. The dead body will remove itself.
The dead body moved on its own?
No! Not another ghost!
I don't think it has anything to do with the occult. I think what she's implying is, we thought Hifumi was dead, but perhaps in reality he was still alive.
He was alive?
Are you saying Hifumi wasn't carried out of the nurse's office, but simply walked out on his own?
But I mean, we found his body. He was dead.
Perhaps he was simply playing dead.
That it isn't possible.
The idea that Hifumi was still alive. Is it really possible? So that's account. Okay. Schauen
Are
wir.
you saying that when we first found Hifumi in the nurse's office, there's a chance he was actually still alive?
No, it is impossible. Hifumi was dead, without a doubt.
And you know that how?
Surely you heard the body discovery announcement along with the rest of us. Hifumi's dead body had been found.
No.
And that is why the announcement was made.
Are we really so sure about that? Maybe the announcement was intended to signal someone else's discovery.
Das ist. Okay, das ist aber einfach.
Are you saying that when we first found there's a chance he was
No, Hifumi was dead.
And you know that how?
Surely you heard the body discovery announcement along with the Hifumi's dead body had been.
No, that's wrong!
Was the body discovery announcement that was made really intended for Hifumi?
Of course it was. The announcement played right after we discovered his body.
Maybe. But that was also the same time that Taka's body was found.
That's right. It wasn't long after finding his body that we heard the announcement.
So there's a good chance we've made a mistake in there somewhere. I think we've confused whether the announcement was for Hifumi or Taka.
First of all, if two bodies had been found, there really should have been two announcements.
Ja, eigentlich schon.
Maybe Monokuma simply got lazy and rolled them together into one.
What do you say, Monokuma? Any comment?
Well, it's a very sensitive issue, so I can't go into too much detail. But what I can say about the body discovery announcement is that it's only broadcast when 3 or more people find a dead body for the first time.
That didn't answer our question, man. We're asking if you're a lazy bum.
No, actually, that was plenty. He said it's only broadcast when a body is discovered for the first time, which means even if we find the same body again later, he won't make the announcement again. If that's true, then why was the announcement made again later on?
Ja.
Huh? Later on?
Exactly. We heard the body discovery announcement twice.
Second body discovery announcement. The first time we played was when found each body in the nurse office. Equipment room. The second time was it when? First was when both bodies were rediscovered.
We heard it a second time in the repository, when we rediscovered the two bodies.
Ja.
It didn't seem weird at the time, but it contradicts what Monokuma just told us, doesn't it?
Exactly. If we were actually rediscovering both bodies, the announcement shouldn't have played.
Then in reality, when the two dead bodies were rediscovered, one of them was actually being discovered for the first time.
So, when we found Hifumi the first time in the nurse's office, he wasn't actually dead yet. Meaning, he wasn't actually found dead until we came upon him in the repository.
And that's just part of it. There's one other thing that leads me to believe he was still alive in the nurse's office.
Ja,
Oh, I know! Because he was super good at playing dead! Bada bing, bada boom!
That is the worst logic I have ever heard. But honestly, I do not think there's anything that can prove he was still alive.
Okay then, let's take another look at the events surrounding the discovery of his body. Then it should become clear whether he was really alive or not.
ja, du nur geredet mit
This whole
Tina.
thing is pointless.
This has to be proof that shows that Hifumi was still alive. I have to find it and show it there anyway. So, was haben wir da? Hifumi's glasses. Hifumi's glasses!
Ja!
Well, here's one thing.
Das wollte ich auch gerade sagen.
The first time we found Hifumi's body was in the nurse's office.
Ja.
And then, while me and Celeste were in the bathroom, his body disappeared.
Das stimmt.
And the next time we saw his body, it was in the repository.
Ja.
But when you compare his body before being moved and his body after being moved, other than the change in how it was positioned,
Oh. Das war jetzt die Falle, glaube ich.
well, here's one thing. The first time we found him, and then his body disappeared.
And the next time it was in.
But when you compare his body before, other than the change in how it was positioned, there was no notable difference.
This is wrong.
In fact, there was one clear difference between Hifumi in the nurse's office and the repository. His glasses. That fact alone proves that he was only playing dead in the beginning.
Perhaps you'd like to fill the rest of us in?
When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, his glasses were covered with blood. But when we found him again later in the repository, they were spotless. And I found the item he used to wipe them clean in the nurse's office trash can.
Wer wird das erfahren? Die Bezeichnung war... Da. Ja, ja.
I got it!
Got it.
It was a glasses cleaning cloth featuring a certain cartoon mascot. One look at the bloodstain on the cloth should make things clear. This piece of cloth was used to wipe Hifumi's glasses clean. And the mascot on the cloth is the same one that's on the digital camera, right? And whose digital camera was it? Hifumi's, of course.
The character was Princess Piggles from Demon Angel Pretty Pudgy Princess, I think.
I highly doubt anyone but Hifumi would have brought something like this to school.
I see your point. And the only people here who wear glasses are...
I wouldn't be caught dead using a tacky piece of garbage like that.
I wouldn't be caught that.
A
Okay.
few tissues is all I need to keep my glasses clean.
Then there's no question. It belonged to Hifumi.
So what you're saying is... What exactly?
What I'm saying is, the blood on his glasses was wiped away using his own glasses cleaning cloth.
Even if that is true, it does not mean he wiped the blood off himself.
But who would benefit from a clean pair of glasses other than the glasses owner?
That's a good point.
Then it must have been him, right?
So let's assume that Hifumi was still alive in the nurse's office. He pretends to be dead. Then when he's alone, he wipes his glasses clean so he can see. Then he stands up and walks out on his own 2 feet. And with that, the impossible task of moving his copious corpse becomes possible, wouldn't you say?
But then, if he was just pretending to be dead,
Warum?
Ja,
what was with
das
all that
ist ja
blood?
logisch.
Was it paint or
Ja,
something?
aber na, warum er das gemacht hat?
Ja, das kann ich dir schon sagen, dass ein Mörder schon für tot gehalten hat.
Na, aber okay, das kann vielleicht sein. Oder wenn... Also, mein größter Verdacht ist Celeste. Und Hifumi, habe ich ja auch gesehen, wie mit der Teesache und so, wo halt Hifumi Tee hergekriegt hat und so, dass er halt die Befehle von Celeste halt befolgt. Und dass Celeste halt gesagt hat, hey, du machst jetzt das und das und das und dann noch das. Sonst gibt's auch nicht. Verstehst? Und das ist das Logische, was ich halt so daraus schließen kann. Und mein Hauptverdächtigte ist halt Celeste.
The fridge in the nurse's office contains packs of blood for emergencies. He probably used one of those.
He figured if he was gonna play dead, he should go all out, so he just dumped it everywhere! But he got crazy with it and had to wipe his glasses off when he was done! God, what an idiot!
And if Hifumi was still alive at that point, the disappearance of Taka's body is easily explained. It should be perfectly obvious who must have moved Taka's corpse.
The one who moved Taka's corpse was Hifumi.
It could only have been Hifumi.
While we were all gathered in the nurse's office, he went to the equipment room and took Taka's body.
That also explains how the door to the repository got locked.
The door was locked?
Well, after the bodies disappeared, we all went looking for them, right? So me and Sakura headed for the repository. But when we got there, the door was locked.
And the repository door can only be locked from the inside. Which means when Hina and Sakura got to the repository, someone was already inside.
And it could only have been Hifumi, who just finished stashing Taka's body there.
He convinced us all he was dead, and when he saw his chance, he dragged Taka's body to the repository. So, Hifumi wasn't just another victim in this case. He was one of the assailants.
But that means he took part in the murders.
I just can't believe it.
If you're having trouble, would you like me to show you one more piece of evidence?
There's more?
Oh, absolutely. The single biggest fact pointing to his involvement has yet to be revealed. You know what I'm talking about, right, Makoto? The item he took off of Taka's lifeless body?
Ah, ja. This is... Ja. Da, the note.
I got it!
Got it.
You're talking about the note Hifumi had hidden away, aren't you?
Hidden note?
That's right. We found it stuffed in his pants.
What? In his pants?
Yes, his pants.
Okay, well, forget about the pants for now. Take a look at what the note says.
I found a hole. Maybe we can use this key. Well, Kuma can't find out. So don't tell anyone else for now. Let's meet to the equipment room at 6 a.m.
That's the note I was telling you about. The one that told me where to go. Huh? Wait, this one's a little different. In my note it said, Monokuma can't find out, so don't tell anyone else for now. Let's meet in the rec room at 1 a.m.
I see. Then this note isn't the same one Hiro got.
It's not the same?
In other words, the killer got in touch with another person besides Hiro. And that person could only have been... I got it!
Taka.
That's right! Taka! The killer used this note to draw out Taka and murder him.
Hello? Over here! Objection! Objection! I don't really understand what's going on, but Hifumi had that letter, right? So whoever wrote it wasn't drawing out TikTok, they were drawing out Huffy!
Just to be clear, TikTok is Taka and Huffy is Hifumi, right?
Ugh! Yes! Why must you ruin it every time?
Man, Janice attack is seriously scary, but still. I can't let her get to me. Ich verstehe aber nicht, was hier passiert, gemeint. Scheiße, oh, scheiße. Oh. Okay, gut, schauen wir mal.
Huffy had the note, right? Then the person it was intended for must have been Huffy!
But remember what the note said. What time did it say to meet?
6 a.m., I believe.
The time doesn't matter! The note has nothing to do with TikTok!
God damn it. Doch. The wristwatch. Die Armbanduhr.
Huffy had the note, right? Then the person it was intended for? Must have been happy!
But remember what the note said.
What time did it?
6 a.m. The time doesn't matter. The note has nothing to do with TikTok.
Ja.
No, it's wrong.
Ist ja ganz logisch.
No, there absolutely is a connection.
What the hell are you talking about?
The note said to meet at 6 a.m., which is the same time Taka was murdered. We've already proven that using his wristwatch. But there's more. Look where the note says to meet. The equipment room, right?
Which is where Taka was killed. I see.
So, Taka was murdered at both the time and place written in the note. I think that should be plenty to show that this note was definitely meant for Taka.
Well, when you put it like that...
No further objections!
Then someone used that note to trick Taka. Just the same as me. The culprit really is a cold-blooded monster. Telling people they found a way out.
But if they gave the note to Taka, what was Hifumi doing with it?
Stuffed down his pants, no less!
Most likely. Hifumi stole it off Taka's corpse after he died.
He stole it?
Where's your proof? Go ahead, show us.
Guck mal, das ist so die Talk nur für Taka. Oh, scrap of paper müsste es sein.
I got it!
Ja.
When I searched Taka's body, I saw that his lifeless hand was gripping a small scrap of paper. If I'm right about this, the sheet of paper this piece came from is... I knew it! It fits perfectly with the note we found hidden on Hifumi.
Then Taka's scrap and Hifumi's note.
Yup, they're from the same piece of paper.
Hifumi had the note meant for Taka, while Taka's corpse still grasped a small piece of that note. There's only one way to explain it.
Taka died clutching the note. Hifumi tried to free the note from his death grip, leaving behind only one small scrap. Did I get all that right?
That means Hifumi knew the note was important.
Exactly. Which proves that he was an accomplice in the murder.
Whoa. Yeah. After seeing all this, Hifumi was super involved in this whole thing for sure. In fact, he was behind the whole thing. In fact, he's still alive!
Das kann nicht sein.
Sorry, no. When we found him in the repository, Hifumi was truly and completely dead. The second body discovery announcement proves that.
So then, who killed Hifumi?
Whoever did is the mastermind, the true killer.
He was killed in the repository. So he must have been killed not long after transporting Taka's body.
So, he must have been killed after Taka's body vanished, but before we found both bodies in the repository.
During that time, we'd all split up and were searching for Taka's missing body. In other words, during that time, none of us have alibis.
Wait, but me and Sakura were together.
Stop trying to steal the spotlight, you stupid walrus!
Who are you calling a walrus?
Anyway, when they were killed bothers me too. But there's something that's been bothering me even more.
And what might that be?
The weapon they used to kill Hifumi.
The weapon?
Yeah, because I mean, according to the Monokuma file,
Ooh.
the way Taka and Hifumi were killed was almost the same, with them having similar fractures and all. But Justice Hammer 3 and 4 were still laying around in the nurse's office and equipment room, right? So if Hifumi was killed in the repository, the culprit would have had to grab one of the hammers, kill Hifumi, then put the hammer back where they found it. But wouldn't that be seriously risky for him?
I'm surprised. It seems there's some semblance of a brain knocking around that skull of yours after all.
Hell yeah, it's packed in there good and tight.
He's right, though. I don't understand it either. The Monokuma file makes it clear that they were killed using similar instruments. But if the hammers were already laying around those other rooms...
So the question is, how could the culprit have gotten their hands on either of the hammers? Personally, I haven't a clue. So which hammer was used to attack Celeste? Number 1 or number 2?
Those were accounted for in other rooms too. And I don't think either one is big enough to kill someone.
Then...
Is it not possible they used a different weapon?
I don't think it is possible. They were both killed with the same kind of thing, right?
Ja.
So then, what was used to kill Hifumi?
Die Hammer in Repository Room. Oh, I have to find the truth. So. Jetzt. Spotless Hammer, ja. Das
What
brauchen wir
was
nicht.
used to kill Hifumi?
Okay, warten wir. Ja, erstmal
Was
schon
it
mal.
Justice Hammer 3? Maybe Justice Hammer 4?
Well, whatever it was, there's one thing we have to figure out. How was the culprit able to move around so freely with the weapon? How did nobody witness them carrying it?
Sounds like a Justice Hammer 5 is about to make its appearance! Check out murdergear.com/hammertime for more info!
Well, one thing seems pretty clear. The murder weapon had to be
No.
the justice.
No,
That's wrong.
The murder weapon wasn't a justice hammer at all. No, it was something completely different.
But, seriously? A different weapon?
Specifically, a hammer from the repository. The killer could have easily used that to kill Hifumi. Now, all the hammers in the repository were covered in flecks of grit and debris. But for some reason, one of them had been scrubbed clean.
Huh?
And the reason it had been scrubbed clean was most likely because it was used to commit murder. If the hammer got covered in Hifumi's blood, of course they'd have to clean it off. I'd also like to point out that the repository has all kinds of hammers. Big ones, small ones, and even some flat mallet-like ones. I think whoever made the justice hammers used those as a basis for their design.
If that's true, that would explain the Monokuma file's note about the wounds being similar.
So Hifumi moved Taka's body to the repository, where someone then used a hammer to kill him.
And whoever did that is the true killer. The one Hifumi was working with. And the one who betrayed him. Hold on a moment. I still think it's strange to assume someone was working together with him. The way the graduation rule works, there is no benefit to helping someone else carry out a murder. So the idea that anyone would work together like that is simply ludicrous. We talked about this, did we not?
Yeah, we did talk about how there wouldn't be any reason for anyone to work together. At least that's what we thought of first, what? Oh, okay.
Based on the rules that have been laid out for us, even if more than one person is complicit in the murder, only the one who actually carried out the act can graduate and survive. Assuming the rule holds true, it is simply impossible that two people work together on this.
That is how the rule was explained to us.
But that only really applies if there's one murder, right? In this case, however, there were two murders.
Okay, das ist...
Based on the rules
Wird's
that
wahrscheinlich
have been,
diese.
even if more than one, only the one who actually carried out the act, assuming the rule holds true.
Ja.
No,
Also der ist immer einfacher. Oder wird einfach immer intelligenter.
since there were two murders, it's at least plausible that more than one person was involved.
What do you mean?
If there'd only been one murder, then yes, the idea of an accomplice isn't really worth considering. Naturally, if only one person can be saved per murder, an accomplice has no risk versus reward benefit.
Risk versus reward benefit?
The payoff for working together. The reward that balances out the risk of taking part in a scheme. There's no point in being someone's accomplice if there's no benefit to you. However, if there were some potential mutual reward for the risk, then cooperation becomes possible.
You're saying that two people could act as each other's accomplices to commit two separate murders.
I think that's what the true killer told Hifumi. They would each have an accomplice for their crime. And based on the case's events, Hifumi would have been the first one to act, murdering Taka. They made him carry out the first murder so he couldn't back out of helping them later on.
So in this case, there wasn't one single person committing multiple murders. Instead, each person killed someone, creating two separate incidents. And it only looked like one person because that's how the true killer designed it to look. A single suspicious individual, a similar weapon used in each crime, disappearing bodies. By creating one seamless set of circumstances, they made it look like one person was behind it all.
The mastermind picked their target and managed to convince him to go along with their plan. And then, to avoid the no accomplices rule, they simply killed their accomplice. Which, if true, means that betraying Hifumi was part of the plan from the very beginning.
That's just awful. How could anyone be so cruel?
You think so? I can't help but admire its cunning. Still, their choice of accomplice seems odd.
The thought made to convince us the two murders were the same. That was the main characteristic this time. Kyoko must have noticed that fact from the very beginning, which is why she said to not look at this as a series of connected events, but entirely separate incidents. Kyoko really is amazing, although, when you think about it, she's almost too amazing. Like, it's almost unnatural how good she is at this.
I understand how an accomplice could be involved, but then who was the one pulling Hifumi's strings?
That's problem numero uno right now.
True Hero manipulated Hifumi to carry out a number of actions, and in the end, murdered him. The debates up till now, the way the case has unfolded, and consider all that, there's really one person who seemed to fit. Celeste.
Here's my answer. It was Celeste.
So I'm the suspicious individual now, am I? I really do hate this kind of joke.
A joke? I wonder.
So what you are saying, then, is that I specifically chose to work together with Hifumi. The idea that I would choose to spend any amount of time interacting with him, that I would go within 10 feet of that shit for brains, that lazy, worthless, goddamn idiot! Pardonnez-moi.
Just to be clear, there is evidence to support it.
Is that so?
It is. Throughout the investigation, there was certain behavior that was common only to the two of you. Considering what we've learned so far, it only further proves that the two of you were working together.
What is the only Hifumi and Celeste had in common? The screaming? No.
Shoot!
Warte, zuerst haben wir eine ganz durchlesen. Encountering a suspicious individual. Genau!
Got it! The behavior they had in common has to do with the suspicious individual in the suit, doesn't it? The only ones who ever actually saw Robo-Justice firsthand were Celeste and Hifumi.
Shush, the adults are talking now.
Sorry.
As he said, only Celeste and Hifumi ever laid eyes on the costumed individual. If we accept that Hifumi was one of the culprits, we can't help but suspect what Celeste has said as well.
Are you saying everything they told us was a lie?
After taking Hifumi to the nurse's office, we all began our search for this individual, correct? And not too long after that, do you remember what Celeste said? We headed to the second floor specifically because of what she claimed to have seen. Next, to draw us all to the physics lab up on the third floor,
She let out a blood-curdling scream.
and when we'd all come to see what was wrong, what was it she said?
Celeste, what's wrong? It was a really intense screaming. Ja. Das ist das 10. Mal, dass wir so schockiert haben. Then as I screamed, he was walking down the stairs, so he had it right under the hall.
Once she'd done her job of getting us all up to the physics lab, it was time for her partner to get to work.
What's that? They came from downstairs. Must have been Hifumi. It's in the nurse office. It's bad. Come on, we have to go back.
It was to get us to divide into two groups. So that we would discover both bodies at the same time?
In fact, Celeste was precisely the one who proposed that we split up.
Why don't we split up into two groups? I lead the hunting party. That seems much more interesting. Very well. Then Makoto and Hina, you come with me to the nurse office. We will leave the capture of the suspicious individual to Toko, Byakuya, and Sakura.
Well, if Celeste and Hifumi were working together, all those chance events suddenly become connected. And on top of that, that piercing cry of yours early on. That was to signal Hifumi, wasn't it? It was your way of telling him, we are on the 3rd floor, everything's going according to plan. Why else would you let out a scream that could have carried across the sea?
I just realized another strange thing. When we found Hifumi in the nurse's office, who we now know was only pretending to be dead.
I certainly was not expecting this. I didn't imagine that Hifumi could be murdered.
Celeste, you were the first one to say he'd been murdered. You wanted to make sure we wouldn't have any doubt in our minds.
I don't believe it. Everything, the whole thing was one big act.
Hina, you were with Celeste when Hifumi's body disappeared, right?
Yeah. I was feeling kinda sick, so Celeste took me to the bathroom. Wait! Then that was...
She wasn't worried about you. She just saw a chance to help Hifumi sneak out of the nurse's office.
Each piece isn't much by itself, but start putting them together and the picture gets very ugly indeed. Wouldn't you agree, Celeste?
I have no idea what you mean.
Don't bother trying to deny it. You made one fatal mistake.
Oh, did I?
I didn't even catch it myself when you first said it, but looking back, I can say that that one little slip-up was your undoing.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about what you said after Hifumi's body disappeared and we returned to the nurse's office.
You must really be enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around, frightened and confused. We're going to die here. We're going to die, just like those guys died.
I remember her saying that too, but I don't understand what's so strange about it.
Then pay attention. Sakura, Toko, and I were first to discover Taka's body in the equipment room. Then Makoto showed up and told us Hifumi had been killed. So Sakura and I left with Makoto. Once we were in the hall, we ran into Celeste, and the 4 of us headed to the nurse's office. Now, the entire time we were together, none of us said anything about Taka being dead. Think about it. Celeste's comment doesn't make sense. It was completely out of place.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about. Although I don't really get what it means.
You hear that, Celeste? Everyone's having some trouble understanding. Could you repeat what you said? If you're really not the culprit, you shouldn't have any problem repeating it, right?
Like I said, the Celeste comment doesn't make sense. What was he alluding to? E-Handbook Murakumo File 3, Celeste's account. Okay, schauen wir mal.
All I said was... They must really be enjoying this. Enjoying the sight of us standing around, frightened and confused. They must be positively elated. We are all going to die here. We are going to die, just like those guys died. And that is all I said.
And that's all it takes to finish this. It's obvious, isn't it? What was so strange about Celeste's comment?
Ah. Yep.
All I said was... They must really be enjoying the sight of us. They must be... We are all going to die here. We are going to die.
Just like...
Jesus.
No, that's wrong.
Wo bist du, Nico?
Ja, sicher.
Passt.
That's right. There's no reason Celeste should have said, just like those guys died. When she said that, none of us had told her Taka was dead.
Exactly. And we didn't run into her until after after we were all out in the hall. So there was never any chance for her to have seen his body in the equipment room for herself.
So how did you know, Celeste? How did you know more than one person had been killed? And how did you know they were both guys? Because Kyoko had also disappeared, right? So she could have been dead too.
You all have such vivid imaginations. You know that?
Imaginations?
You claim that I was lying when I told you about the suspicious person I saw. Then what about the picture I took? How do you explain this picture of the costumed villain dragging Hifumi away?
It has to be some kind of setup, right? So let's put the suit on, and then she used the camera's timer to set up the picture.
Have you so quickly forgotten? You are the only one who could have possibly fit into that suit. Plus, I happen to know that this particular camera does not have a timer. In other words, it is an unassailable fact that this is a picture of Hifumi being dragged away. If everything I told you was a lie, how can this picture exist? Simple.
Are we sure that's really a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away?
What could you possibly mean by that?
Surely there are other explanations than the one you've offered up.
No, there is no other explanation.
What explanations? If it wasn't a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away. The only other possibilities. Was? Okay, there's a
I
meet.
got it!
Done.
It's not a picture of the suspect dragging Hifumi away. I would say it's a picture of Hifumi dragging the suspect away.
That's certainly within the realm of possibility. The one being dragged off in that picture isn't Hifumi, but the person in the robot suit. We've simply been led to believe that it's the other way around. And the strange costume might only exist to lead us astray even farther. If you saw someone wearing something like that in this situation, of course you'd notice and be suspicious.
That's what happened! You put me to sleep and made me out to be the bad guy in all this!
Such a thing is utterly impossible. Hifumi was dragging him away? Ridiculous.
Is it? I don't think it's ridiculous at all.
Then shut your mouth and allow me to educate you.
Celeste thinks she can prove that there is no way Hifumi was dragging the suspect away. But is that really possible? Oh. Make your argument. Du überschaust das Kostüm wie ein Buchsband des Händler. Also hier das Message has Blueprints. Okay.
You dressed me up in that suit after I passed out! Then you just draped me across Hifumi and had him carry my weight! You tried to make me look like the bad guy!
Like I said, ridiculous. As you can see in the picture, the suspect is standing perfectly upright. If the person inside the suit was unconscious, there's no way they could stand up straight like that.
Then the fortune-telling idiot is the culprit after all!
No way!
Okay, das wird jetzt wieder... Na, warte mal.
You dressed me up in that suit after I passed out! Then you just draped me across if you tried to make me look like the...
Like I said, as you can see in the picture, if the person inside the suit was unconscious, there's no way they could stand up straight
Na,
like
das war's
that.
nicht.
Shoot!
Okay, dann...
You dressed me up in that suit after I passed out! Then you just draped me across Hifumi and had him carry my weight! You tried to make me look like the bad guy!
Dort, wir müssen jetzt diese...
Like I said, ridiculous. As you can see in the picture, if the person inside the suit, there's no way they could stand...
Yep.
No, that's wrong! No. Even if the person inside the suit were unconscious, they could still stand up like that. Because that Robo-Justice suit had a certain characteristic.
You don't get bent at the waist. Seems like a pretty obvious oversight.
That's right! They totally made a mistake when they made it, so it couldn't bend at the waist.
I'm not so sure that was a mistake. I think the suit was designed from the beginning to be used the way it was.
Celeste and Hifumi took the suit they'd specially designed and stuffed Hiro into it. That's how they were able to fake that whole thing. The point of it all was to make us believe whoever was in the suit was to blame.
Well then, I suppose this is checkmate.
Checkmate?
Don't make me laugh, you idiot! What do you mean, checkmate?
Celeste?
Clearly, you want to cram me into your little guilty box. Well, there's one little problem.
Have you already forgotten what Hifumi told us as he lay dying?
Who tried to kill you? Who killed me? That's right, remember the name. Here.
When we asked him who had attacked him, his answer was quite clear, was it not? He said, and I quote, Yasuhiro.
In other words, Yasuhiro Hagakure!
Right! But my name isn't really Yasuhiro! It's actually Taro!
Your confusing statements don't make any sense. You're only making things more complicated.
He did say Yasuhiro, but are we sure he was really pointing the finger at Hiro?
What the hell are you talking about? I'll burn you alive!
Kyoko, what do you mean by that?
Think back to how Hifumi used to talk to us. How did he refer to each of us?
Last
I
name.
got it! That's right! Our last names! He called us all by our last names!
Yo,
Exactly.
Mr.
I know I
Name.
heard him say Mr. Naegi more than once, for example. So if Hifumi did mean to say Hiro's name, he would have said his last name, Hagakure.
I'm sure it was just coincidental. By chance, his first name.
Indecent?
Don't talk.
Random chance. Now isn't that a convenient explanation? No, there's no reason to think he would have said the name any different than normal. But he must have run out of energy before he could say any more.
So Hifumi was trying to tell us the last name of whoever killed him?
But the name he said doesn't apply to anyone here.
Well, no. Hold on. And that's Celeste. She never actually told us what her real name is.
What did you just say? To think you'd take your false accusation so far, I don't know whether to laugh or spit! Come on! Enough with your idiotic blather! Yasuhiro is a loser's name! Do I look like a loser to you? Well, do I?
Also du schaust auf jeden Fall verrückt aus.
What? I think I've earned the right to be a little on edge.
Okay, then fill us in. What's your real name?
Make sure your ear holes are wide open and listen up! My real name is Celestia Ludenberg. Could you please stop making me repeat myself over and over again?
Celeste still won't give up, so then you have to do something to make her accept it. Make her iron. Oh yeah. Oberscheißes Kostüm, die Handbuch, das Hammer, hier sind die ganzen Schuhe. Oh, warte mal. Oberscheißes Kostüm.
Hifumi was trying to tell us something. He wanted us to know the killer's last name, Yasuhiro.
If there's one person here who might have that last name,
It would have to be you, Celeste. You haven't told anyone what your real name is.
How many times do I have to tell you? My name is Celestia Ludenberg, god damn it!
How long do you plan to go on pretending?
I'm not pretending. It's the truth. And since you have no way to contradict me,
That's the only truth there is! Moron!
Ah!
Hifumi was trying to tell us
Du hast das
something.
gefunden, oder?
Ja.
He wanted us to know the killer's
Was,
last
wenn man
name.
E-Handbuch
Lasst ihn hier.
erstellt? Was sieht man denn da?
If there's one person here who might
Ah,
have
der
that
Name.
To be
Yeah.
you, Celeste.
How many times my name? Celeste, you Ludenberg god!
How long do you plan to go on pretending?
I'm not pretending. It's the trend since
You have no way
Na!
to contradict.
predict me.
Ja.
No, that's wrong.
Ja, that's wrong.
That's it. The handbook.
What?
Anytime you turn your handbook on, it shows the owner's name when it boots up, right? Monokuma told us all about it before.
This handbook is absolutely vital to a healthy school life, so don't lose it. When you start it up, it will display your name. Always make sure you have the right one. No, this is not your everyday. Oh, there's so many more uses than that.
So all we have to do is check her handbook, and that'll clear up everything. That's how we can find out Celeste's real name.
That's an invasion of privacy. I refuse to cooperate.
Celeste, can you please just tell us what really happened? Please, just tell us.
Even when I'm put in check, it's just my nature not to give up. Because until the game's over, you never know what might happen.
Fine then. Let me settle it.
Oh.
Let me go over the case again, from the beginning, and shed light on all your crimes.
Jawohl.
And that'll bring everything to an end.
Okay. Closing Argument. Okay, dann macht es wie die Folie aus. Okay. Na, die Chips haben nichts mit dem zu tun. So, dann weiter. So. Okay. Dann. Na, warte. Da stimmt das nicht. So, schauen wir mal. Okay, das. Ah! Na, das. Es ist entweder nachts. Genau. Also hier kommt eine und wird ohnmächtig gemacht. Dann wird er diesen Anzug gemacht und dann da. So. Danach. Dann ist es. Ja, warte, das ist kurz nach 7. Das kann es nicht sein. So, was kann es dann sein? Sein Rucksack? Was soll. Es wird nichts mit dem zum Tor. Chips, na. Gerne. Hifumi schlagt dann zu Tode. Passt. Genau, schafft es dann vor. So. Dann machen wir das. Dann. Hifumi. So, just ist immer free. Okay, wir sind wieder gleichzeitig. So, dann. Genau, Schuppen weg. Ja, Schuppen zu Tode. So, dann haben wir nur eins noch übrig. Und zwar die da. Ich das einfach nicht. Okay, React.
The killer is you! Before anything, the killer persuaded someone to help carry out the murder. And that person was... Hifumi. With an accomplice, the killer was able to execute a number of otherwise impossible schemes.
Tick, tick, tick.
First, they convinced someone to meet them in the rec room last night at 1 in the morning. That someone they met with was Hiro. The murderous duo intended to pass Hiro off as the prime suspect. So when they met up with him, they drugged him, knocked him out, and stuffed him into the Robo-Justice suit. Next, Hifumi positioned himself to make it look like Robo-Justice was attacking him, while the killer used a digital camera to take pictures of the assault. They did all this just to create evidence that would put the suspicion on Hiro. When they were done with him, they shoved him, still unconscious, into the pool room locker.
Okay. Warte, was ist da falsch? Was ist mir da doch?
Vielleicht der Hammer,
warte mal. Das ist
ja,
das ist ein Armbruch.
Here's exactly what happened.
Das war ein Armbruch.
And then finally, at 6 a.m., they moved into the murder phase of their plan. They called Taka to the equipment room. And that's where Hifumi killed him, making it the scene of the first murder. The murder weapon was Justice Hammer 4, which was left there in the equipment room. The reason Hammer number 4 was used was to create confusion about the order of the crimes. So, next they falsified 2 more assault incidents. For these attacks, the killers pretended to be the victims to solidify Robo-Justice as the suspect. The first fake incident was the attack in the rec room. There, the killers wanted us to see Justice Hammer 1 and the Robo-Justice pictures they'd taken. They wanted to make sure we bought the surprise attack story. The second fake incident was the attack in the library. This time, they planted Justice Hammer 2 and an injured Hifumi to sell us that story. With these 2 incidents, the killers were able to create a certain preconception in our minds that the suspect was increasing the size of the hammers and attacking people in order as they did. We fell right into their trap and started looking for the suspect based on that. But while we did that, we left Hifumi alone in the nurse's office. This was exactly what Hifumi was hoping for. He took a blood packet from the refrigerator and Justice Hammer 3 and turned the room into a crime scene in which he himself had apparently been brutally murdered. He let out a scream to draw us back, and when we returned, that's what we found. Meanwhile, the other group that had been out searching found Taka's body at the same time. So when we heard the body discovery announcement, we naturally assumed it was for Hifumi. We left the nurse's office, and Hifumi once again took advantage of the situation. He simply got up and made his escape. When we learned his body had disappeared, we all rushed back to the nurse's office. And once again, Hifumi had the chance he was waiting for. This time, he snuck into the equipment room.
Yep.
He wrapped Taka's body in a tarp and used the dolly to move it all the way down to the repository. That explains how each of the bodies disappeared. But even Hifumi didn't know what the true killer had in mind for their final act. Their plan all along was to kill Hifumi and get rid of the one person who could betray them. And they did it using an ordinary, everyday hammer from the repository. That should cover everything that happened in this case. And the villain behind it all is...
Ooh.
Celeste! Sorry, you lose.
Ah, also haben wir das auch geschafft.
Celeste bleibt trotzdem mein Lieblingscharakter.
I lost? When was the last time I was forced to utter such words? They hang heavy around my neck.
Then you admit it? You're the killer?
Listen to you, trying to take charge, as if you're my private instructor. I, Celestia Ludenberg. Actually, no. Taeko Yasuhiro is fine.
Taeko?
Taeko Yasuhiro.
So, you finally accepted it.
I'm the kind of person, once I've lost, I don't like things to drag on.
Interesting.
Okay. Ah. Einige Monocoins.
Okay, Monokuma. I'm ready to begin. Or, no. I suppose this is the end, isn't it?
It is indeed the moment we've all been waiting for. Time to vote. Okay? Okay. If you would, please locate your lever and when the votes are tallied, will you make the right choice?
Ja, das wissen wir schon alle schon. Braucht man nicht extra wiederholen. Monokuma Vote. It's basically formality at this point, but once again you are totally correct. Back in this time, the true shooter who devised the whole stinking scheme was Celestia Ludenberg, or more precisely, Taeko Yasuhiro.
Honestly.
I lost. Well, that sucks. I guess trying to work with someone else was a mistake after all. Hifumi's ineptitude was beyond all my calculations.
I knew it.
So he really did approach Hifumi with his plans. I tried to get him to agree. I can't imagine he would have happily agreed to commit murder. I'm sure he'd right on her speciality. Lying. My speciality? Don't make me laugh. I didn't have to lie to get him to agree.
So then...
When did you ask? Then did you use to know? I knew you figured it out, Yoko. You're absolutely right. To get Hifumi to act as my accomplice, I used her. For everyone who's still left, I'll avoid mentioning it by name, but it was the one thing Hifumi and Taka were both super into. Does she mean? You're talking about alter ego?
Say what?
What are you talking about?
Just a second.
Don't interrupt. We're in the middle of a very important conversation here. I'm totally out of the loop, as usual. How's that?
In other words...
Then you're the one that stole it.
Indeed.
That's right.
I see.
And you used to drag Hifumi into the plan you'd come up with. Right again. Last night, after we had our meeting about how to disappear, I paid Hifumi a little visit. What are you doing
Actually,
here? I was hoping I could talk to you alone. This part was stolen. I know who did it.
what?
What?
Are you okay with this?
It was Taka. He stole it. What?
So
And I have
then...
a proof. Would you like to see it? As it turned out, I found a use for a digital camera. I taken what to Taka's room earlier and took pictures of it there. I did the picture as soon as I showed it to Hifumi, of course.
Damnation!
So it was him. But how did he do it? She was supposed to yell if Ada was close to her. you're correct. Which is why Taco forced me to steal it.
Say what?
What?
As for me,
Please forgive me. He threatened me.
Oh.
He did?
as for
He
me,
came to my room last night unannounced, and then it's hard for me to even say. He abused me.
What?
What? And he took pictures. He said if I did not do as he asked, he would show them to everyone. So I had no choice.
Damnation!
It's a crime, an absolute crime. I knew he'd gone a little crazy, but I never imagined he would go that far. It was amazing how completely he bought it. I can't express how enjoyable that was. I'm about to say something I never said before in my life. I'm going to kill him. I'm not kill him.
most
Wait,
unfortunate.
please, if you're gone, you'll be playing right into his hands.
Actually,
Jack is planning to use her to escape. And he has made you his target.
What?
Escape? You don't mean. Jack is going to try to kill you. What?
indeed.
And also he can keep her to himself. That bastard. Bastard.
Honestly,
Can we allow him to continue with these barbaric acts? Absolutely not. How could I? She.
I swear!
I have to say here.
actually,
Would you like to join with me? It just so happens I have come up with a plan. Huh? I have devised a way to reclaim what he was stolen, and escape his dreadful school. With that, it is complete. What are you talking about? Oh, nothing. You feel me agreed to follow the second thought. The fact that Atom had on him was remarkable. The power of love, even a love as swift as that, can still drive people mad, it would seem. You disgust me.
I see.
I have another question for you. Was that strange costume Hifumi's creation?
indeed.
Yeah, it was a real pain in the butt too. All I asked him to do was what makes it to hide the face, a general body size. I had no idea it makes something like that, but it's my fault for picking him in the first place.
But
So why did you decide to make me the suspect? Because you're stupid. That's it.
Let's see.
And in that regard, I made the right choice. I'm so glad your stupidity surpassed my every expectation. Life must have been tough on your parents though. I feel like I could cry.
Well,
But when you explained your plan to Fumi, how did you explain the part of him playing dead? What she's asking is, what was Hifumi supposed to do after that? Assuming you had actually let him live.
Are you okay with this?
That's simple. After he did his part and pretended to be dead, once someone showed up, I told him to say he'd been seriously wounded. He was on the verge of death, but he just barely held on. You really believed that? Well, of course, that wasn't all. That wasn't it. As I explained to Hifumi, the plan was, while they were all questioning him about what had happened to him, I was going to murder someone else. At that point, Hifumi would have an alibi, so nobody could have dumped him. I told him that and he believed it. That all seems very straightforward, stereotypical. I just matched the lie to the level of the opponent. In fact, Hifumi ate it up. He believed the lie wholeheartedly, right up until the moment of his death.
so in the end,
So he had planned to kill him all along. But of course, it would have been no point to my plan if the one who pretended to be dead did not end up dead himself.
What the heck?
How can human life mean so little to you?
Well,
That's an non-issue. I simply did everything in my power to win.
don't be mean.
No, you should. Now it's under the Biak here.
I wonder about
No,
that.
he derives his pleasure from the thrill of the hunt. As I said, we are nothing alike.
Why?
And what made you take things this far?
What the heck?
Was it really just for money? Are you talking about the $10 million Monokuma offered us? That is a lot of money, it's true. But that's not all there is to it. From the moment our new life here began, my only thought has been escape.
But
But all along we've been saying how we have to accept living here.
You little bitch!
Obviously, that was a lie.
Hey!
I couldn't take it. I hated it from day one. More than anyone else in here.
You little bitch!
I wanted to get out. Every day was fresh torture. But do you want to know why, huh?
This is fine.
Because I had a dream. And accepting a life here would have meant nothing less than giving up on my dream forever.
Honestly.
There was no way that I could ever do that. In the underground world of gambling, I risked my life to make a metaphorical killing.
As for
And
me,
it was all for that dream. And what was this dream of yours?
isn't it wonderful?
We live in an European castle. Castle? And to get a handsome man from all over the world to serve as my butlers / bodyguards. I was going to make them dress up like vampires and satisfy my every need. Once I obtained that, I would have created a perfectly aesthetic world of decadence.
This is fine.
Living the rest of my life there was my only dream, my only goal. That's what life is all about. Combined with my own winnings, Monokuma's $10 million would have made that dream a reality. I got right to the edge, but
There is nothing to be
unfortunately my
done.
dream has been scattered to the winds. Still, I don't have any regrets. I pursued my dream to the very end, so why would I?
Just the worst.
You sound so passionate, but you were really able to kill your own friends for it.
Oh,
Are you asking me to feel guilty? That's a point in the war. I think nothing of sacrificing others for my own ends. I feel nothing.
do you understand?
That's all there is to me. That's what makes me complete. Is it terrifying how different our values are? There's simply no room for understanding.
What is
That-
this?
That's what we should be saying, and plus... Okay, Noah ist gerade... Okay, was ist gerade passiert, Noah?
Daniel?
Was ist gerade passiert? Hörst du mich?
Ja, es ist die Verbindung einfach nur erbrochen.
Wow. Na gut.
Lang nehmen wir eigentlich schon auf.
Schon Überstand, aber das machen wir nur, das Kapitel machen wir nur fertig.
Okay.
How can you be so calm? Don't you realize you're about to die? Why aren't you scared? My ability relies on unrevive, and I take pride in that. It's not just other people. I can even fool my own emotions. The conscious deceives the unconscious. Oh, sie kann sich selbst anlügen anscheinend. And that's why you're not scared.
Yes, indeed.
That's right, I don't fear death. Kill me however you like. But you know, if I could be reincarnated, if I had a choice then,
Isn't it wonderful?
I think I would like to come back as Marie Antoinette.
Hey.
You just get executed again. Celeste smiled then. And when she did, it looked to me like a poor effort to force it. She claimed she could fool her own feelings. But that statement itself must have been her final lie. And that weak, fake smile is what it betrayed her.
Thrills, chills, kills!
Ja, dann. Okay, let's get rolling. We're back and disturbed the peace and must pay the price. Was mich nur wundert ist, wie ich Hifumi herausgefunden hat, was Celestes richtiger Name ist. Das ist das, was mich nur wundert.
Now then, I've prepared a very special punishment. Let's give it everything we've got. It's punishment time!
Ah, wurde
I
auch mal
guess I'll
Zeit.
let Kyoko hold on to this.
I guess I let Kyoko is.
What?
This is.
Will it really give you the hope you're looking for? I can't say I ever saw it that way. Which is why... Actually, it's not important. Well then... Take care, everyone. Perhaps we'll meet again. In another life.
it's over. The third execution is over. Celeste's death is over. Celeste killed my friends, so I can pity her, but I also can't deny that at one point I considered her as a friend too. And for him to just come along and... Isn't it just awful? Someone couldn't get free of the regrets from the outside world, and so more people had to die.
Extreme!
You guys are still young. You need to place more value on your lives.
What are you gonna
Jeez.
do?
And here, father, you guys were gonna pass the torch of hope to the next generation.
Let me out of here!
What do I care about hope? I throw it in the trash if you just let me out of here.
Too bad.
You're in an burning above home, whether you like it or not. And it's my destiny to knock it down by one. It's sad, yes it is. But that really just can't be avoided. Don't talk like you're not responsible. How long are you gonna make us keep going through this? What do you want from us? God, I'm sick of people asking me that. Give it a rest already. So anyway, Hugo, did you see you get some kind of key type object from Celeste?
Hey!
So, what's the deal with that?
What?
Huh? What's the matter?
So then,
You answer a question, if you answer mine.
you...
What did you do? What did you do to me?
Ooh.
What?
Hey,
Answer me. What did you do to my body?
Ooh. How exciting.
Oh man. Oh jeez. Oh man, it's jeez. What do you mean? What did I do? I have no idea. I don't know anything about it. What was that just now? You must have meant something to Kyoko's body. What does it mean?
Hello.
Okay, things are getting kinda off. I think it's about time I got out of here.
Well,
Meanwhile, you guys can go enjoy your school life. If you get lonely, give me a shot. Don't let her do anything about it, of course.
see ya later.
See ya. Monokuma disappeared, leaving us all depressed and in despair. Although, it wasn't all despair. There was one small hope. Hey Kyoko, Monokuma already mentioned it, but... What's that key that Celeste gave you?
so...
Most likely. It's the key to one of the dressing room lockers.
Huh?
What? Then that means... Celeste probably hid it there.
Hey,
I suppose sometimes it's easiest to miss what's right beneath your nose. Well then, we'd better go check.
Indeed.
Good idea. So, was ist das jetzt? We left the courtroom and rushed to the dressing room. As we approached the dressing room, Kyoko looked back at us and said,
Hey,
I want to go alone from here. Everybody else head to the dining hall. I'll check with you later.
What?
Why exactly are going alone?
so...
Do you even have to ask? As he spoke, she glanced quickly at the surveillance camera.
Come on.
That's not what I meant. Why? You. There's still the risk of a spy, you know. Then I'll go too.
What?
You? Please, let me go. Saying here, arguing is just going to draw more attention to us.
Goodbye.
Do whatever you want. Thank you, Byakuya.
well then.
Then it's up to you now.
Yo!
I'm gonna go to the dining hall, okay? Huh? So Makoto and Kyoko are gonna go together? Does it mean what I think it means?
Okay.
Good luck, Makoto. Guys like you are total push-offs when you show a little backbone. I try to forget what Hina said. Everyone headed to the dining hall, leaving me and Kyoko there alone.
Shall we go?
Shall we? Yeah.
So then,
We need to get into the locker. Kyoko took the keys Celeste has given and unlocked the locker. As the locker swung open, we saw...
You really came.
Good morning. It's been a while, hasn't it? It's safe, thank goodness. I never heard Kyoko sound so relieved. It was like she was speaking from the bottom of her heart.
Hallo Daniel.
Hallo. Okay, Steam sagt schon, dass wir so langsam aufhören sollen. Aber, aber Kapitel 3 müsste eigentlich ziemlich bald fertig sein, deswegen... Das schon
Ja, ich möchte das auch wieder mal aufhören.
Ja. And it just was a discuss. I didn't say a word. I stayed quiet the entire time. Oh, and... I think I might be able to open the last set of files soon. Maybe as early as tomorrow. I'm doing my best, so please wait just a while longer. So now we can officially say the case is closed. As far as the incident is concerned, sure, but... Can we take a second? Since you have this opportunity, I want you to be honest with me. Kyoko, please tell me. What are you trying to do all your honor here at school?
you...
Is that why you wanted to come here with me?
However...
Regardless, that's not something you need to know right now. I don't need to know. That just makes me more worried.
What?
Worried? Like what happened during the investigation this time. You disappeared. We didn't see you again. Without warning, without explanation. Can you do that?
Indeed.
It's only natural that they think I'm the mastermind spy, right? And you too. No. I believe in you.
What?
You believe in me? Isn't it obvious? People believe in their friends, right? That's why I want you to tell me. And I want you. to believe in me too. Because we're friends. I understand.
It's true.
Then maybe I can believe you. Just a little bit more. Then?
That's fine.
Fine, I'll tell you. I'll tell you why I've been disappearing and where I've been going. You see. What I heard from Kyoko then was... Well, Frank, it kind of blew in my mind. Right after I told Kyoko, I believe in her. She told me a story that was, well, almost unbelievable. I decided I had to confess that she told me with my own 2 eyes. So I waited for the night time to come. And then when it did, I went into action.
Correct.
The bathroom on the second floor doesn't have a surveillance camera or monitor in it. In this storage closet here. Way in the back. She said it was the way in the back of boys' bathroom storage closet, but could Kyoko really be right about this? Okay, nee. Jetzt beenden wir das wirklich. Das ist ein guter Cliffhanger, auf jeden Fall. Auch wenn es jetzt Chapter 3 noch weitergeht. Und mitten. Auf jeden Fall. Ich hoffe, es hat dir gefallen.
Ja.
Ja, also nur für uns beide geht es wahrscheinlich noch morgen weiter.
Ja, möglicherweise.
Ja, dann. Tschüss, bis zum nächsten Mal. Lasst ein Like da, abonnieren. Kommentare. Tschüss.
Tschüss.